Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. You're watching Newsroom. I'm your host, Khalid Butt, and as usual, we will be discussing the important stories of the day. Our leading story of the day is what happened in Karachi in the Stock Exchange building. 4 terrorists were killed when they attempted to storm the Pakistan Stock Exchange compound in Karachi. Of course, one sub-inspector, 2 security guards were martyred in the attack, and all the 4 killers, the terrorists, were also killed in this incident. 7 people, including 3 police officials, have been injured as per the official statement. That is, of course, our leading story of the day. Our second story of the day concerns Pakistan, that has rejected the illegal grant of occupied Kashmir domicile certificates to Indian nationals. As you very well know, what is happening in India under the Narendra Modi government is that they are trying to put the majority of the Muslim community in the Kashmir region into a minority, and one of the steps that they are taking under this measure is by giving those the people who did not have the nationality of Kashmir, especially the non-Muslims, they will be now given the domicile of Kashmir, and in the long run, they are, of course, what they want to do is to have a plebiscite as per the United Nations, and then say, oh, you see, the majority is now no longer in favor of what the Kashmiris were saying in the past. Well, this is our second story. Our third segment is sexual harassment in educational institutions. Now, there have been many cases of sexual harassment in educational institutions around the world, in Pakistan as well. We've heard of cases in 2010, we heard of cases in a couple of years back as well, but of late, a private institution in Lahore has come under fire because of many of the female students of that institution that have posted on Instagram and on Twitter their private messages that were sent to them by teachers of that institution, as a result of which the administration of that institution has terminated 4 teachers of that private educational institutions. But is that enough? Does that end on just termination of these teachers, or does there need to be a stronger legislation for protecting the students, whether they be male or they be female, in any educational institution, whether they be in a private educational institution or in a madrasa? That will be our third segment of the day. Let's start with our first segment. 4 terrorists, as you know, this morning around 10 o'clock tried to enter the compound of the Karachi Stock Exchange, and a very swift action was taken by the security forces in Karachi, and as a result of which, in a very short span of time, all the 4 terrorists were apprehended, they were killed, and in that exchange of fire, there was also 1 sub-inspector and 2 security guards who embraced martyrdom in that exchange of fire, whereas there are 7 people, that include 3 police officials, that have been injured as per the statement. This is, of course, a very heinous incident that has occurred in Karachi, that has, of course, all the leaders, whether they be the chief minister of Sindh or the governor Sindh or the president, they have all condemned this incident. And of course, we've had statements coming from the DG Rangers as well as the head of the police in Sindh as well as to what happened. And of course, the security has been tightened across the institutions in the region, and especially in the wake of what has happened in Karachi. Are the institutions in places such as Karachi, the Karachi Stock Exchange, are those places still safe for us? Have they been made safer? We will be, of course, talking about that. But before we start our this segment on what happened, of course, this developing story about what happened at the Karachi Stock Exchange building, we will be talking about Pakistan, that has rejected the illegal grant of occupied Kashmir domicile certificates to the Indian nationals. We've been joined by Altaf Hussain Wani Saab, Kashmiri leader. Wani Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. Sir, what do you make of this? Wasn't this always a premeditated step that the Hindu government of the BJP wanted to take? Didn't you know that this will be done sooner or later by the government of Narendra Modi?
Yeah, you see, since 2014, it was on cards that Narendra Modi's government will do it, and they were for it, and they had this in their election manifesto in 2014, and later on in the recent elections in 2019 also. So it was on cards, and the people of Kashmir, the leadership of Kashmir, are always alarmed about it, that this is going to happen. But unfortunately, this is not the only thing but the government of India has been doing. They have already the Article 370, which gave the Kashmirian nominal autonomy, that was eroded from time to time, and there was only one thing left, that was this state subject law. Now, this law has been also repealed by the government of India, and the basic thing about it is that what they have been thinking about, to create one nation, one language, one culture, and one thinking about in India, and that's why they changed this law and tried, and or not only trying, but they have now changed the demography of Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir, which is against the spirits of UN resolutions on Kashmir, which is against the Geneva Conventions, that any occupier cannot change the demography of any of the territories which is occupied. And also, the UN resolutions on Kashmir also state that there cannot be any material change on the ground until appellate is held. So, under the international law and also under the international obligations, this is a clear violation of those laws. So, but yes, we have seen that the government of India, Narendra Modi's government, has become so arrogant. They don't take any, they give any heed to all these international concerns or the laws that are binding over there in Kashmir.
All right, Wali Saab, kindly stay online with us. We've been joined by Shafiq Ahmed Saab, senior journalist as well. Shafiq Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. Shafiq Saab, as many as 25,000 non-locals have been granted these domicile certificates in the Muslim majority Jammu and Kashmir since the 18th of May. And this is, of course, as we all know, a move to disturb the demographic profile in the region. What do you make of it? Do you think this can be reversed at any point, or do you think this is just the beginning of another chapter of what the Indians want to do in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir?
First of all, let me correct, because I talked to some journalists and some other people, very informative in Srinagar, in Kashmir. And they said, in fact, this is not the 25,000 people only. They are the people which is disclosed by the local media, in fact. The number of these people issued certificates, they are more than 40 or 45,000.
All right.
The number is
so even double the amount.
High. Yes. And he said, actually, they have taken the advantage of complete lockdown in the Kashmir because this was the time when offices were closed, and when offices were closed and the people were unable to get out of their homes. So they took advantage of that and they issued these kind of certificates. Actually, they told the government officials who served in Kashmir for more than 15 years, they told them to obtain the certificate. So a lot of people who came from Bihar, from Punjab, from other states, they obtained these certificates, and majority of them are civil servant and military officials. So what is my understanding of the current situation? I mean, this is just a beginning. And if Narendra Modi is not stopped here, he will move on. He will go on. And in my understanding is that he is following the same style of Israel government of Netanyahu. Like the way they are annexing land of Palestinian people, the same model applied by the BJP government of Narendra Modi. And he is trying to change the demography of Jammu and Kashmir by taking illegal steps, all the steps taken like revoking the special status of Jammu and Kashmir. So all these steps are illegal, and the international community must stop Narendra Modi to continue these kind of activities.
Yes. All right, Wani Saab, will the will of the Kashmiri people who want their independence from the hegemony of the BJP government be changed or be mulled by what is being done by the BJP government? I mean, an example of which is this citizenship right.
You see, the people of Kashmir have fought the Indian military might for last 7 decades, and more importantly for last 3.5 decades now. They are being brutalized, but they do not succumb to the pressure of the Indian brutalities. They are fighting, and they keep on fighting on that. Having said that, I'll just let you know about what are the designs of this. The law which has been passed by the Indian government, which has been enacted in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir, uh, till today, I can tell you 2,200,000 Indians are eligible to get this domiciles in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir. This means more than one-fourth of the population of Jammu and Kashmir will come from the from India, from the other sides of other parts of India, and will settle in Kashmir. And they are targeting two major areas in the Jammu district, more importantly, that is the Doda, Kishtawar, the Muslim-dominated part, and also the Muslim-dominated part, which is Punch, Rajouri, where there is a Muslim population in those areas. Currently, they are targeting those two areas, and also slowly and steadily they will come to the Kashmir. You know, there are already 1,500,000 migrant workers who have been working in Kashmir. By this law, they are eligible to for the citizenship, for this domicile in Kashmir. And also, there's the people who have worked in Kashmir for more than 10 years, or their kids who have passed the 12th grade exam from Kashmir board, they are eligible for this. And this account goes to 220 100,000 till date. So this is a very serious situation for the people of Kashmir, but they have no option. On one hand, they keep on raising their voices on different platforms through different means, alarming the NGOs, alarming the conscience of the international community. On the other hand, they are facing the brutality of the Indian forces on ground and have decided
Exactly.
to continue their struggle and are doing that.
All right. Shafiq Saab, now the Indian people, especially the people, the hapless Muslims of Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir, are under constant subjugation of brutalities, of violence by the Indian forces. And of course, this step is just another step that the Indian government wanted to take in the direction of having this area be called no longer a Muslim majority area. Do you feel, in your point of view, Shafiq Saab, I'll ask Wani Saab as well, that they will succeed in this attempt? Because if they continue in this vein, in a few years' time, if they give the requisite amount of certificates, domicile certificates to non-Muslims, and a couple of years down the lane, they say, all right, let's do this plebiscite, and the plebiscite is done, and the majority is no longer Muslim, what happens then?
You are absolutely right. Actually, this is not the step taken by the Modi government right now. Since Narendra Modi came into power in 2014, he has been taking such kind of steps to change the demography of Jammu and Kashmir, and particularly the Jammu area. So what he has done already, like he in 2016 announced a special industrial zone in which any non-Kashmiri can get a land on lease for 50 years. And that is extendable for further 40 years. This was the first step. Then there was a small colony started building for the Hindu Pandits who were no longer the resident of Kashmir. So they Narendra Modi government built residential colonies for the Hindu Pandits, and this is still going on and on. The question is that a few weeks back, when Trump signed, President Trump sanctioned China on the issue of Uyghur in Xinjiang province, the same step can be taken by the U.S. Kashmir. Why? This is a big question. Like, I have more question on the.
All right, Shafiq Saab, I'll cut you here. Wani Saab, what do you feel that Shafiq Saab is saying? Do you corroborate what he's been saying? Don't you feel that the powers that be, now is the time for them to put the pressure on India and the Indian government so that this does not continue? Because here is another Palestine in the making, if it's not already made.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, we have seen that the bigger powers designs, they have their own strategies and strategical partners. Now the US has a strategical partner in the South Asia, that's India. They are trying to, they have put India in front of China, and a new emerging conflict in this region is taking place. But having said that, there are voices at international level who are condemning this Indian act. Lots of international actors, lots of international leaders have said the Kashmir situation cannot go like this. But this is happening on ground. What is happening on ground, that is happening. The Indians, they have asked the officers if they refuse to issue a state's domicile within 24 hours, he will be fined rupees 50,000. So how can any of the officers refuse to do this? So they have just provided a card to them that I was here for such and such time, and the officer is asked to issue a domicile within 24 hours. He can't deny them. So all the Kashmiris who are there, who are in offices, who are working in the government, they are also under pressure on the part of Indian government. There is a it's a militarized system in Indian occupied Kashmir. But now international community has so far been only showing concerns about the Kashmir. Nobody is making India accountable. As Shafiq Saab said, that on the Uyghurs, they made sanctions on China, but nobody is implying sanctions on India. What they did in Kashmir for the last 30 years and what they are doing to the Muslims and other minorities in India, nobody is calling for sanctions on India on these issues. So India should be made accountable.
Thank you very much, Vani Saab. Thank you very much for your very kind output and point of view on what is happening there. Shafiq Saab, what is the way forward now? I mean, our Foreign Office has strongly condemned this incident and other incidents that have been emanating from the Indian side. But to what end? I mean, what I don't understand is where is all of this going? What needs to be done for them to understand that what they are doing is extremely wrong?
I think the Foreign Office is doing right now a good job. Condemnation is good, but this is not enough. I personally suggest that the government should hold some seminars, some conferences, and Pakistan government officials should continue speaking about these kind of atrocities against the Muslims in Kashmir in each and every platform. This is the best solution. Like what we have seen that last year when Imran Khan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, spoke on the occasion of United Nations General Assembly. So since then, the international media started talking on the issue of atrocities in Kashmir. So it was a very good step taken by the Prime Minister of Pakistan. So I think this process should continue. The Pakistan government should highlight the plight of Kashmiris, atrocities of Indian government against the Kashmiris, and what you rightly said, converting the people and turning this state of Jammu Kashmir like the state of Palestine. The same atrocities doing by Israel government.
Exactly, a replication.
Exactly, this is the replication, exactly. So the government of Pakistan should continue their effort and raise the issue at each and every platform. This is the best solution.
All right. Shafiq Saab, now we'll go to, of course, our leading story of the day. Our leading story of the day concerns the incident that has happened at the Karachi Stock Exchange building. Of course, 4 terrorists that tried to enter the building laced with weapons and with the latest machinery, and they were of course countered by the Pakistani security forces. As a result, all 4 of the terrorists were killed, whereas 1 sub-inspector and 2 security guards were martyred. 7 people, including 3 police officials, were injured. Before we go into further details, let's hear what the Constable Muhammad Rafiq had to say. He was there on the scene. He was one of the constables who also fired upon and subsequently killed the 4 terrorists. Let's hear what he had to say.
हमारी ड्यूटी यहाँ पे थी मेन गेट पे, तो जैसे ये आए थे गाड़ी में, आए थे करोला में, जैसे बाहर निकले इन्होंने फायरिंग शुरू कर दी। पहले सब इंस्पेक्टर डिस्ट्रिक्ट वाला था, उनको शहीद कर दिया था। उसके बाद सिक्योरिटी वाले और एक सिक्योरिटी जख्मी हो गए। जैसे जख्मी हो गया तो हमारे 2 बंदे थे, 3 बंदे हम थे, 2 जख्मी हो गए थे, एक गोली लग गई, दूसरे को यहाँ पे गोली लगी सर में। वो जख्मी हो गए थे, वो उसको उधर गिरे, फिर मैंने एक को शूट किया, वो मर गया था। फिर उन्होंने बोला भाई एक बंदा और भी जिंदा है जो हमें शूट कर रहा है। ये वादे सुनने में आया था वो, तो मैंने भी फायरिंग बंद कर दी, वो पीछे भाग गए। तो 2 बंदे उन्होंने बोला भाई 2 बंदे जो आगे फायरिंग करते जाओ और एक बंदा हमें कवर दे। जैसे वो 2 बंदे फायरिंग करता गया, एक बंदा फायरिंग करता, दूसरे ग्रेनेड फेंकता गया यहाँ से आगे। तो दूसरा बंदा जैसे निकला तो मेरे को उसने देख लिया था, मेरे उसको 2 गोलियां मारी, जख्मी हो गया। फिर उसने ग्रेनेड निकाला, एक हाथ में गोली मारी, वो हाथ छूट गया था, वेपन से वेपन नीचे गिर गई। तो उसने ग्रेनेड निकाला, ग्रेनेड की पिन निकालने वाला मैंने उसको सर पे गोली मारी, तो वो नीचे गिर गया। जैसे नीचे गिरा 2 बंदे आगे गए, एक को मैंने पीछे से गोली मारी थी, वो थोड़ा जख्मी हो गया। फिर आगे भाई ने
All right. You just saw what Constable Mohammed Rafiq had to say. Of course, we need to salute our valiant forces who were there to counter this attempt by the 4 terrorists who were there. Kamar Cheema Saab, Strategic Affairs Specialist, joins us online. Kamar Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. Kamar Saab, a very heinous incident that happened in Karachi, but of course it was countered in the very nick of time by our security forces. What was the intention of these terrorists?
Thank you very much, Bhatt Sahib. I think, first of all, we need to praise our law enforcement agencies, our police officers there. It just took them 8 minutes to complete this entire operation against the terrorists. That is one thing. The second thing, which is more important, and that is the contemporary Indian Chief of Defense Staff, General Bipin Rawat, who was the former army chief. He initiated and introduced a non-contact warfare, which is to subvert and destroy economic potential of a country and to destroy or to dismantle the political system in any country. And that is directly directed towards, obviously, Pakistan. So that is a non-contact warfare. And remember one thing, in 2018, the Chinese consulate was attacked in Karachi, and now the Karachi Stock Exchange is attacked. And remember, the Chinese have invested in Karachi Stock Exchange, and I have learned through sources that the Shanghai Stock Exchange has also invested a lot in Karachi Stock Exchange. So in return, if the Karachi Stock Exchange is attacked, that is to damage the Pakistan-China relations and to damage the foreign direct investment that has come from China under CPEC and the BRI. So I think this is a clarity here that recently what happened at Ladakh, if the Indians couldn't deal with the Chinese at Ladakh or the line of actual control, they want to get engaged or they want to settle score with the Chinese in Pakistan. So this is where we need to make it clear, enough is enough. This is state sponsor of terrorism by the Indian deep state, and we need to make international community aware of these kind of activities which are subverting our political system and damaging the potential of our economy, which is growing. And you remember, there's a lot of investment that has come because of this China-Pakistan economic corridor, and we were on the path to take a new, give a new shape to our economics, our business, and things are getting very normal. But these kind of attacks by some elements
to stop that, to in fact suspend all such activity. Now, Kamar Saab, whatever you have said has also been corroborated by the Sindh Rangers Director General Umar Ahmed Bukhari, who said that straight away, I can assure you, and I quote what he said, straight away I can assure you that this terrorist incident cannot have taken place without the help of an outside agency, and among them, Raw's frustration is apparent to all of you. Now, of course, the fingers point towards our neighbor that is hostile, that has tried, whether it be on the line of control through the violations, whether it be through other means, directly or indirectly, defaming Pakistan on different fronts, or incidents such as these, through other such organizations that are subverting or are creating terrorist kind of networks in Pakistan as well. Do you feel that our security forces, do you feel that our rangers, our police officers, our army, our intelligence agencies are now equipped with the measures that are required to counter any such incident in the future, as they have done, as you said very well, in a few minutes all of this was over and done with?
You are absolutely right, Umar Khalid Bhatt Saab. It was a matter of 8 minutes that these people were neutralized. And I think above all, what is required now? I was looking, the international community was lambasting this terrorist incident. The Belgian foreign minister, the Americans, and the other diplomatic corps in Islamabad was making that this is a terrorist incident in Pakistan. I think this is where our diplomacy starts. This is where our diplomatic engagement starts, that how much we are capable enough to make international community clear that who is behind these terrorist incidents. And we have to link these dots. The dots are very clear. This is not that India is an arch rival. We are claiming that they have done it. We have the proof. If you remember, I was just shared a video of the retired Indian Major Gaurav Varia, who said 2 months ago with me in a television that I have contacts with the separatists in Balochistan. Name any person I have. And I tweeted that video today, and he has reminded me, or he has just retweeted that said that that is just a video clip, and you are claiming that is right. So the point is that we need to pressurize the Indian deep state over Khalid Bhatt Saab. I think Pakistan's political, security, and the diplomatic leadership, the leadership in the Foreign Office, they need to make clear to the Americans and to the Western partners that we are the one who are facing state-sponsored terrorism coming from India and coming from those hostile non-state actors who are globally designated terrorists declared by the Americans. Remember, BLA is a globally designated terrorist, and this is where the Indians are claiming that they have done right. Many verified Twitter handles in India are saying and claiming and tweeting that they have done right, and this should be done to Pakistan. God forbid, no one has ever said anything if something happens in India. No one from the verified or unverified Twitter handles. I think it should be clarity to the global audience now.
All right. Don't you feel that such incidents should be taken to a higher organization or on a higher level, such as the United Nations, such as the International Court of Justice or other such institutions?
Well, I think the individuals of the Indian deep state, they must be declared as the terrorists, and you know, we spoke to the United Nations. We took a matter to the United Nations Security Council recently. Our Foreign Office declared that 4 individuals who are financing the terrorists, the terrorists and the terrorist organizations, those who are claiming that they have done terrorist activities in Pakistan, and we wanted that the international community.
All right, Qamar Saab, we have to go to a short break. We'll be back right after this. Stay tuned.
इंडस्ट्री और दूसरे डिपार्टमेंटों के साथ है। इसी तरह हम हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस प्रोग्राम, यूनिवर्सल हेल्थ कवरेज के हवाले से एक प्रोग्राम हमारा चल रहा है। पब्लिक माइक्रो फाइनेंसिंग जो अखुवत का है, जो अपनी नौइयत का बहुत मुख्तलिफ, और अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह इस कोविड प्रोग्राम में उसने हमें मदद भी दी, जहाँ हम लोग आम आदमी के साथ, क्योंकि हर आदमी तो कोई यहाँ तो लोन उनको मिलता है जो करोड़ों रुपए मांगते हैं, गरीब आदमी को तो कोई 5 रुपए भी नहीं देता। यानी कि लोन लेने वाले बोलेंगे जी प्रॉपर्टी है, बैंक बैलेंस है, कारोबार है, अच्छा जी आपको 10 करोड़ देते हैं। एक आम आदमी जाता है कि जी मुझे 50,000 रुपए चाहिए, तो वो कहता है साहब आप ये जगह आपके लिए नहीं, कहीं और से कर्ज ले लो। बलूचिस्तान हुकूमत ने ये पहली दफा प्रोग्राम अखुवत के साथ शुरू किया है, जहां लोगों को कम से कम 20 से 30,000 रुपए भी कर्जा दिया जाएगा और ज्यादा से ज्यादा लाख 1.5 लाख का भी दिया जाएगा, और उस पर कोई सूद भी नहीं है। ये प्रोग्राम अगर अवामी नौइयत के नहीं है तो मेरा एक बड़ा सवाल पहुंचता है, और इसका तरीक़ेकार भी माशाल्लाह बड़ा अच्छा है। डॉक्टर अमजद साहब पूरे पाकिस्तान में काम कर रहे हैं, उनके साथ हमने MOU किया, वो खुद आए, हमारे कैबिनेट को उन्होंने प्रेजेंटेशन दी। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह इस कोविड में बहुत सारे घरों में वो पैसे तकसीम भी हुए बगैर सूद के। तो ये सोशो इकोनॉमिक चीज़ें हैं जिनका हम जो ला रहे हैं अपने डिफरेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स के हवाले से, जिसका फ़ायदा है। स्पोर्ट्स के हवाले से तालीम, स्पोर्ट्स हमेशा बात होती है। कुछ दोस्त ऐसे कहते हैं कि स्पोर्ट्स कॉम्प्लेक्स ही चाहिए, न हो शायद किसी इलाके में, लेकिन मैं आज बड़े असूख से कह सकता हूँ, खालिद हज़ारा साहब यहाँ बैठे हैं, कि आज आप TV पे ऐलान कर दें कि जिस मुल्क में यूथ 70% हो और उनको बोले जी आप स्पोर्ट से कोई ताल्लुक नहीं, आप घर बैठ के लूडो या ताश खेलें, और क्रिकेट ग्राउंड, जिम्नेजियम, जिम और ट्रैकिंग ग्राउंड, फुटबॉल, सॉकर जो है ना, ये फिर हम सोचेंगे पता नहीं किस वक्त के लिए बना है। मुझे तो बड़ी हैरत हो रही थी। और ये बलूचिस्तान का बाकी प्रोजेक्टों के साथ साथ इंशाल्लाह, पिछले साल हमें थोड़ी बहुत मुश्किलात इस प्रोजेक्ट को एग्जीक्यूट करने में इसलिए सिर्फ आई कि उसका PC1 का मैकेनिज्म बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स था, इस बजट में आपने देखा होगा हर जिले का कॉम्प्लेक्स हमने उसका कोड अलग बनाया है और अलग वो अब टेंडर होगा। और मेरे ख्याल से बलूचिस्तान के तकरीबन 33 अजला में जब ये काम इंशाल्लाह इस साल शुरू होने जाएंगे, ये हमारे यूथ के लिए, उस इलाके के यूथ के लिए एक बहुत बड़ा मैसेज, एक फैसिलिटी होगी जहाँ हमेशा हमारे यूथ, जहाँ हमेशा हमारे प्लेयर एक ही बात करते हैं, जी हम इनके साथ कहाँ मुकाबला कर सकते हैं, हमारे पास तो ना ग्राउंड है ना खेलने की जगह है। आज बलूचिस्तान के जब इंशाअल्लाह ताला 4 साल बाद 5 साल बाद ये 35 कॉम्प्लेक्स सेंटर्स बनेंगे तो बलूचिस्तान अच्छे प्लेयर्स भी प्रोड्यूस करेगी, एक अच्छा माहौल भी बनेगा और चीज़ें भी बहुत बेहतर होंगी। इसी के साथ साथ 71 फुट स्टॉल का काम, 71 फुट स्टॉल, हम तो 4 फुट स्टॉल क्वेटा में बना के वावा लेते हैं, इसकी गवर्नमेंट ने लिए 71 फुट स्टॉल।
Welcome back. You're watching Newsroom, and we are continuing our discussion on the leading topic of the day, that is the 4 terrorists that have been killed in an attempt to storm the Karachi Stock Exchange building. Qamar Cheema Saab, yes, we were talking a little bit about what has been done, what needs to be done. Of course, we heard many different statements, whether it be from the Sindh Rangers Director General Umar Ahmed Bukhari, or of course other personalities who also talked about this incident and said that our forces were ready to thwart any such incident since what happened to the Chinese, as you know very well.
Well, sorry, but sir, I think this is the moment where we need to take the Chinese on board as well. I think the pressure which has with the Chinese have on Indians, I think that will really help Pakistan and to make further Pakistan-China relationship stronger in fighting the war against terrorism and strengthening our bilateral economic relations. And the way Chinese have encircled Indians through Nepal and Bhutan, and the way the Indians are facing pressure right now, I think Pakistan's Western partners are our friends in Europe and America. They have not been speaking high the challenges which Pakistan is facing from India, because and the contemporary challenge is the state sponsor of terrorism, which is we are facing from India. So I think if we take Chinese on board, and which they are board on obviously, and this is not attack on just Pakistan's stock exchange, this is an attack on Chinese investment in Pakistan. And remember one thing, the Indians understand that if the Chinese workforce which is working in Pakistan, if that is attacked, that will China consider an attack on its people and its territory, because those people, if they are working in Pakistan, if they are targeted, that will not just be attack on Pakistan. So I think we need to make aware, and we need to calculate the challenges which can come in front, because the majority of the activities of the Kalboch and Yadav network, which was dismantled in the past, but that has been reactivated by the Indian deep state. I think the Chinese are aware, but we further need to strengthen our partnership, and we need to take our friends on board, and we need to
our partnership. Thank you very much, Qamar Cheema Saab, for your point of view, and of course that discussion on this leading story. Shafiq Ahmed Saab, do we need to calculate our challenges? Do we need to take the Chinese on board? Shafiq Saab, can you hear us? All right, so as Qamar Cheema Saab said, that we need to calculate the challenges that lie ahead for us, and also strengthen our cooperation with the Chinese as far as these security challenges that confront us. Of course, these are incidents that not only affect Pakistan, Pakistan's security, Pakistan's economy, but also indirectly China, because China and Pakistan are now, as we have always said, are in brothers, and China has, of course, invested a lot in Pakistan. So China, of course, is indirectly concerned with this as well. We'll see how that develops as well. But as far as the reaction by the Pakistani forces is concerned, it was something to be lauded about, and we salute our forces for that as well. Now, our third story is one that is very important as well. Our educational institutions, ladies and gentlemen, are where we send our sisters, our brothers, our children to get education, whether they be in a private institution or a government institution or in a madrasa. Now, we have had many different incidents in the past as well, where students have come forward and have talked about incidents of abuse, incidents of sexual harassment on them one way or the other. But there is this latest incident that has come from a private institution in Lahore, in which many students, not one, not two, but dozens of students have posted not only pictures but also texts that have been sent to them by the different teachers, texts that have a sexual nature. And of course, they have narrated incidents in which the teachers have had a very strong sexual conduct with them. Fazana Bari, social activist, joins us. Fazana Bari, thank you very much to have joined us. Fazana Bari, I know this is an issue that is very near to your heart. This incident that has recently happened in Lahore, how does the government and the institutions and the NGOs need to counter it? Is sacking the 4 teachers enough, or does more need to be done?
Actually, this is not like like sacking. Of course, that is critical. And once these cases are surfaced, immediately these people should be removed, and there should be proper investigation. And after that, that's not only that they should be removed from their jobs, but this is a kind of a criminal activity, and depending on the nature of the offense, people should be also punished accordingly. As you know, this is not only incident. There has been a systematically sexual harassment going in Balochistan University, even at Quaid-e-Azam University. I know in the public and private sector universities, this is a common complaint, which has been, students have been reporting. Sometimes it is between the students and the teachers. Sometimes it's the employees and the students. So this is an issue. That's why we push for legislation to be passed to criminalize this behavior. I think the problem today is that there is no proper implementation of this law. A lot of institutions still do not have even anti-sexual harassment committees have not been instituted in many, in many educational institutions, and the redressal mechanism is so weak within these universities that often even students do not bother to go and complain because they know there won't be any positive outcome of that. I remember even Quaid-e-Azam University's registrar there was a complaint against the university registrar. He was being declared as this ombudsperson office has actually given verdict against him. But then he is still working today, even at Quaid-e-Azam University, because apparently at that time the president, he has, given an application to the president of Pakistan, and he was allowed to continue to work at the university. He's still at Quaid-e-Azam University. I mean, this is on record. So you can imagine when the level of implementation is, at that stage, what can you do? Because unless the system stands by those, who are victims, who are survivors, who are complaining, and system goes against, goes after, if the system go after these perpetrators, nothing can be done. The only thing is, obviously, our system is not working in favor of those who are complaining.
It even favors these people who are in fact involved in such incidents. But Fazana Bari, there is this Electronic Crime Act 2016 that is there. Now all the texts, the messages, the WhatsApp messages that have been sent with incriminating photographs of teachers as well that have been sent to the students, can't they come under that Electronic Act 2016? A. And B, my question to you is, if the system can't do it, why can't the administration of such educational institutions take the necessary measures and do or put such laws into action in their institutions so just something like this never happens again?
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. But as I said, if you really go and do some research and find out how many public sector and private sector universities which have actually established committees on sexual harassment. I mean, they have not bothered. Nobody is bothering and monitoring this institution. Apparently, this institution can be, fined, can be if they do not implement this law. However, there are many universities where this law has not been implemented to begin with. Then the question comes, how much the administration is interested. I can tell you, this is such a rampant problem, and there is the kind of like the abuse of power, which is so common now in our country, and university administrations are also highly. Most of the universities have become highly politicized. Administration is not, taking so much like it's not like they're taking it as a serious concern. And often what happens that even there are these mechanisms that are in place. And if the case is against the teacher or the university or the administration employee, a lot of time what we see, they do not want to take a decision against their own colleagues or their own. So I think
but why, Fazana Bari, I fail to understand. For example, why is the administration backing those teachers and not taking the necessary action and not booking FIRs against them? Just firing. I mean, this is a very, very small, reason for. Reaction to what they have done. What they have done is much more violent act. I mean, that changes the lives of these women or these men, these young women and men that are serving that as students in different institutions.
No, I totally agree with this. Ideally, principally, of course, the university administration should make it their concern. But these universities, as I'm saying, like this patriarchal mindset, and whereby sexual harassment is not seen such a crime or such an offense, and that patriarchal mindset is very much also in the part of this university administration, where often you see now that even the vice chancellors who have no background in education, they have been like there are political appointments here and there, and therefore the entire administration works very unprofessionally. I totally agree with you. If these are professional institutions where there are academics and at the helm of affairs, with the people who really want to make the educational environment safe for their students, male and female both, only then they can be make sure that these places are safe. But unfortunately, what we see that the kind of administration we have put in place in this university, in these educational institutions, which are often appointed by, these are political appointments. They are people who are not necessarily.
In the private institutions as well, do you feel that the appointments are on a political basis? Of, for example, the higher administration, the principals, the vice principals, those who can take the necessary actions against such teachers?
I think in the private universities, the patriarchal mindset to exist, I tell you, everywhere, whereby these issues are not taken the kind of seriousness that is deserved, whether it is a private university or a public sector university. So the issue is that those who are actually running this institution, how much they are committed to create a safe environment, within their own. So it is basically, lack of giving an importance, and then lack of monitoring, lack of not taking action, in time, speedy action, stern action to discourage this kind of behavior. Often universities try to tell their students, even private, I know there are quite few cases I handled by who came out of the private universities, where the university is more interested the case should not go out in public, in media, because that will bring a bad name to the university.
Exactly.
Instead of being,
as well.
Instead of being concerned about the safety of the student, or female or male students, they're more concerned the university will bring a bad name to the university, and so they try to suppress these events. So I think this is a much bigger problem, what you're talking about, and despite the law has passed, but the incidence of sexual harassment, I think it's not going down. Rather, as far as reporting is concerned, I see every year there are more cases who have been reported from the educational institution, and particularly against their teachers. But how much how many teachers who have been, action has been taken against them, If you get if you have the figure, you can tell me, let me know. But I think the cases I'm aware of, and I've been following them. Often these teachers are, the committees will not
take the necessary action against them. Thank you very much, Farzana Bari, to have joined us, to have given us a very valuable input, because the onus of responsibility, ladies and gentlemen, in incidents such as these comes not only on the society, it also comes on the NGOs, it also comes on the administration of such educational institutions and all the necessary organisms that are concerned with education and the propagation of education in Pakistan. We hope and we pray that in the future such incidents are reduced or never happen, and an example needs to be made of incidents such as what has happened in this LGS A1 in Lahore. With that, we come to an end of this episode of Newsroom. We'll be back inshallah tomorrow. Take care. Allah Hafiz.